Hey y'all. I don't came back on this camera looking the same way. So no, we're not gonna start that off. We ain't gonna start it off like that. Peace, love, and light, guys. Um, you know, welcome returning viewers and shout out to the new ones. I'm up one viewer since like last night or subscriber. So shout out to my new subscriber. I'm feeling a little under the weather right now, just as a prereq. So bear with me. I jumped on live and got a little loopy. But first I forgot to shout you guys out. So hey, um, I had to go across the street and get me a cup of cereal, get me some vitals in my stomach, my vitals, because it's just a lot of negativity that is in the air. And part of me, I feel connected to it. I feel connected. I am connected, which is probably why I'm a little bit under the weather. Um, it started yesterday with my head. I was at work. I'm a waitress. I shared with that in my lunar eclipse video. You guys should go check that out. I posted. It was my last live, one of my last lives I did. Um, I was at work and I just started feeling real dizzy, and then I just like kind of regurgitated everything that I ate, and they had to send me home early. It was sad. I only left with $50 in tips. So, and then carrying on. These my other work glasses. I put on. Something told me to throw these on. I don't know. I just was feeling goofy, but I'm not. This isn't me pulling cars, but if I do pull them, it'll be down the line with what I'm talking about, because shout out to you guys, because people, whether they know it or not, we are the greatest teachers to ourselves and our peers. And that's where I accumulated a lot of my knowledge. I When I was younger, I did read a lot. I Reading was my thing. Like, that kept me close to my family, close to home, close to church, just close to spirit and my religion. And I never was the type of person to like push off what I practice on other people. I'm the type of person that practices boundaries, practicing respect and boundaries. But so with that being said, when I was like a young child, and even in my teenage years, like I a lot of times I kind of sat back and just watched other people like um exert their energy, and I tried to like pay attention to where it came from, because like, obviously I'm talking about in a school setting. Because we all came from home to school, and we all kind of like had these it's like watching atoms. If you ever watched, if you were in science class or whatever, if you Google or YouTube atoms and how they vibrate and things of that nature, molecules, we were all some form of matter, if you will, um by experience, by our birthright, things that were handed down to us, generational curses, generational wealth, things of that nature. And then being all in this confined space, and like, I was always the one that kind of, I would, kept my home, I don't want to say issues, but my home experiences, I always kind of like kept to myself. Like, it was easy for me to like keep that fine line between home and school. Like, so how I chose to communicate with my peers kind of was like, I guess you could say it was a little bit ahead of my time, because I tried not to read into things too much. But huh, with that being said, like, that kind of like, with that, and then me being my religious factor, my religious background with my dad, teaching me the ways of the mosque, the Nation of Islam, and then my mom being Episcopalian. She grew up Baptist, but she converted. Still under the Christianity tier, if you will. Me being raised under that too. Like I'm very solid. I'm very confident in my religion and my spirituality. And to me, you can't have one without the other. There's no such thing. So um that kind of like led me to be open hearted to tarot, where I didn't really start practice. Well, I ain't gonna even say practice, but I didn't start picking up tarot cards until last year. But I just my whole reason for going live is to clear up some of the negative energy that's out there online, with these tarot readers. I think it's blasphemy to be online reading tarot, because when you think about like hoodoo and voodoo and things of that nature, um there's a specific place in this world, and that people go to seek those sort of things. You don't just pick up one day tarot cards and start reading people's lives. You just don't do it. You don't just practice Reiki or chicken scratch. You have to be licensed to do these things. And there are a lot of false prophets online. Like, it just is, and it is sickening. It's sickening. For instance, there's this one reader out here. She's I don't know where she's from, but she resides on the West Coast. I could just tell, like, I could just tell by her energy. My cousins, and little background story, my relatives, they were born and raised on the West Coast, and then they migrated back to Michigan. And their mother, she did tarot, but there was so with that being said, with them being on the West Coast, and then this tarot reader being from the West Coast and doing tarot readings online, like, the difference between the two, my family members, my relatives, and this girl, is that, for one, like, um she never did tarot on TV or online. Everything was personal. She was sought after, if you catch my flow. But this young girl, she's strictly doing this for entertainment purposes only. So she's online pretending as though, like, she's using her own intuitive downloads and reading tarot, and that's false. And she's reading it as if she's doing it for somebody else. Like, she's sharing her personal experiences with the world. It's like taboo. She's doing taboo because she's taking her own miserable, toxic situation and casting it on other people, and people are eating it up. They're eating it up. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I've been all in her comments. I've been like kind of harassing this girl because, like, believe it or not, I'm speaking from my own experiences. Like, her whole situation is just false, because I too have been intuitively inclined for a very long time. Some of it is due to trauma, and then the other parts are due to just, experiencing, having the pleasure, and being honored, you know, being blessed to be able to experience life through other people's, situations, if you will. So so that's just a bit of who I am, going back to how I kind of just, I don't always shoot off at my mouth. I'm the type of person that lets things play out. I pause, period, like, I've always been the type of friend in the friend group people come to for advice. And in return, I ask, do you want me to, you feel me? Do you want the absolute truth, or do you want me to just, pacify the situation? Because I'm self-proclaimed a truther. I'm a truther. I'm a truther. I don't broadcast. I'm still healing myself. So with that being said, you know, I practice meditation, and that stems from my father. I practice meditation with my crystals and my essential oils, with my eating habits, with how I speak. I intentionally wake up and try to acknowledge spirit, and try to so with that being said, like, you never know where life will take you, but I try to equip myself, meaning with my religion, with my when stemming from my mother and the Bible. And that's another journey that I want to restart. I stopped going to church when I was a young girl. Like, I stopped going to Sunday service, but I always went to choir rehearsal and then revival with my mom. But once I realized what church really was for me, that's when I stopped going. But I vowed to myself and to my own practice that I would one day go back once I, solidified my adulthood. Shout out to me, my birthday's tomorrow. I'll be turning 30. So it's purpose in everything, big or small. So I'm gonna get back to going to church one day, but and I'm a little lightheaded with this, so you have to forgive me. But it's all about just practicing what you preach. Being online and doing tarot, it's an iffy situation, Like, I'm just calling some of these people's out, some of these content creators out, because like, it's one thing to pick up on the energy of the day, like being cognizant of like your own surroundings, and it's another to be like just broadcasting a story, like a whole storyline. So for example, again, this tarot reader, I know, like, I'm too connected to this situation because I've seen this girl in the spiritual realm. So I know what I'm talking about. So it's this tarot reader, this girl who got caught up out in her hometown by these visitors, if you will, these passerbyers, who grew up somewhere else but wanted to basically sow their oats in another state. And they ran across her, you know, where, you know, it's the male and his two other brothers. And one of the brothers I'm closely connected to, if you will. He went out there chasing after fame, stardom, wanting to be a producer. And so did the brother that, the main brother, basically. Not the one that has anything to do with me. But all of this ties into all of my readings, all everything I've been saying. I'm trying to get these people some help because they mentally done lost their minds, like, honestly and truthfully. But so he impregnates this girl, the main brother. They have daughters, but he also has another woman that he has pregnant that I went to school with, who is my age. And so there's a lot of doppelganging going on. And mind you, the main brother graduated high school in like 2002, 2003. I graduated high school in 2011. So the two women that he has pregnant are around my age, and his brother is around my age. So that's that whole gap in timeline right there, right? And so, like, I just want people to be cognizant of the things that they tithe into, because this girl that's online doing tarot is crying out for help. She's crying out for help, and not for nothing, I'm giving her the sauce right now. I'm giving her the sauce and the recipe right now on this live. I'm hoping that she changes her content because they had they the main brother has taken on some role that he can no longer conceal. He's been trying to protect the brother that I'm connected to, trying to conceal his identity, if you will. And that's why he took on, some other identity and has impregnated these young women. Trying to conceal his identity from some past childhood trauma, which left me and the brother I'm connected to in financial despair, if you will, emotional despair. Our health has been on like this wave, this roller coaster. Meanwhile, he out there living it up, eating fancy. So, and then the our community, and then okay, so really, even though okay, you have to scratch the other brother. So it's the one I'm connected to, the main brother, and then it's this friend that they befriended that's helping the main brother do all this dirty work, right? Who stole money from churches, stalked stalked my family, like basically attempted to kill people, all to conceal everybody's identity, all for money, all for money. And if anybody is wise when it comes to wisdom, when it comes to knowledge and knowing how to exert it, you've become wise. And so these men are not wise because they don't know understand what currency is. Currency, money is nothing but energy. How you receive your money has everything to do with your energy and how you wake up in the morning and how you walk out the door. And so these men have created some sort of like secret society, some type of gang related situation. They mind you, they are also ordained in a church. Like their family runs a church, okay? And they have been using the basement of their church to like basically, well, I'm not going to say they've been using their church, but you can tell when people say, it's this saying amongst our generation of people that churchgoers, church kids, preachers kids are the worst kind because they feel like confined, if you will, like that whole repetition thing. And when they go outside, most churches are in the neighborhood, in the hood, if you will, and then they go outside and then they're conflicted with the whole helping hand situation. So then they try to redefine who they are and get lost in the sauce. So just imagine going to school with these people, having relations with one of the brothers, and then being caught up in all of this BS. Like, and I know this sounds like I'm angry, but I'm not. Like me turning 30 and me trying to achieve things in life now. I'm more cognizant with the way that I think. Like, and I'm about to show y'all what I mean because with this star code oracle deck, because nothing is a coincidence, like man versus nature whole thing, like man versus nature, aka fighting the beast, like these men don't understand who they are, truthfully and honestly. So with me turning 30 and thinking before I do or thinking before I speak, like I'm trying to use my past experience to make a better future for me and my child, me and my son, and like, I mean, they are stuck in this Kodak phase of life, if you get what I mean. Like, because the instant gratification of on the being online, they don't post online that much. Like I'm so deep into all of this. Like I'm about protecting my family. And the moment I got with the one brother, it just everything was like the energy was just off because they're into doppelganging. They just are. They're into concealing their identity. And that's what I mean by the whole Kodak era with the, with the camera, because that was the only thing at the time, we had to hold on to our memories. You had to go to CVS, you had to had the film be, developed and all of that thing, all of that nature, everything, telephone, everything was more concealed and confined, and that's how they still operate. They don't like to expose too much of who they are. They like to be secret when really it's like with technology in the age of Aquarius and everything being infinite and us having access to infinite knowledge, it's like they're misusing the tools that's been placed before us, if you will. They're still trying to hold on to some past like ways of doing things, some past condition that's really neither here nor there. It's technology was still being developed, but they're not wise. They're not wise with how they're doing. And I've exactly. Exactly. So I'm just trying to clear up some of this mess and help this girl because I'm somehow caught in all of this. And it's just all about promoting health, mental health, and wellness. Once you realize what that is, once you realize what um gang stalking is, once you realize, that your energy is being misused and you know where it's coming from, that's when you have to just center yourself and revert back to the things that kept you close to the cross, kept you close to home, you know, like because it's just too much. And then it's just too much. And then for her to be perpetuating her own situation onto innocent people, and they're sucking it up. It's like, why don't you just change your content a little bit? Like, let us get to know who you are a little bit more before you pretend to be this false prophet and then claim in your bio that you're doing this for entertainment purposes only, just to see what you get out of it. Like, people are donating money to this girl, and it's a mess. It's a mess. Meanwhile, he's still taking care of her. He's still financially taking care of this girl. Like, I can bet you my last dollar he is. And so part of me changing my content on my page is to clear up the BS. You know, it's like these people are weird. I didn't know people are so weird trying to steal others' destinies. Like, who thinks that's all? And it starts at home. That's all I'm saying. And it starts at home. I used to want to run away from home too because I felt like my family just didn't get me, didn't understand me. But if it wasn't for my grandparents, my parents' parents, that's why I'm so thankful that I'm still here. I don't even want to leave my own hometown because you never know what you got until it's gone. Like, you just never know what you have until it's gone. And you never get to you never could appreciate your freedom until you're locked up, caged up for doing something dumb. Like, unfortunately, the person that I'm connected to feels obligated to his family, and it's like, and he's an Aquarius too. So it's like, I know he has the right mind frame, but because he's conflicted, sis, okay? If Cuz excuse me if this is a male talking, but I've sought therapy. I'm not ashamed to say it. I because it's to the point that my mom can't even help me. She has to live her own life. But that's exactly what it is. Narcissism at its finest. And God rest my cousin's soul. I'm not gonna even go there, but it's like, we don't run from nothing, not even ourselves. If we do that, we did that. Like, I ain't running from nothing. If you can't face yourself in the morning, then you shouldn't be doing it. And that's exactly what a narcissistic person is. Somebody who can't look their own self in the mirror and like to inflict pain and BS on other people. That's all it is. And that's all I want to express on my channel. Um, we evolving over here. Peace, love, and light. Like, I knew, like, that's my whole name, Luna Love. Like, I'm trying to protect that. I'm trying to protect our power and manifestation. Like, we should never give our power away to nobody, but you live and you learn, and that's part of being an adolescent. But it's time for these groups of people to let this go. It's time for them to realize we are not children anymore. They're older than me. Yeah, I'm just now turning 30. These people are 32, 35. It's time to let it go. Gruffy. It's over. It's over. Huh, I don't even know if I could make it to work today. Like we here, sis. And shout out to you. Shout out to you because you really are making like you helping me get balance again. They surely can. They surely can. But it's not their fault. It's not their fault. With that whole family thing because you family. You get what I'm saying? We got to start somewhere, and that's why I don't want to run in the back because if I run in the back, I might Earl y'all. But all I'm saying is, um, the chakras. Once you realize who you are in spirit, and it's okay to practice religion, balance out your chakras. Whether you got to start from the root or the crown, balance it out. Balance out your chakras. Start with your diet, like because right now it's that's all I can say. It's we have to sometimes, and Ricky Smiley said it best, and shout out to the Q dogs, shout out to their society. Sometimes blood don't make you family, and it's just true. And shout out to my father as well. Even though he is renounced, that's still my that's still my family. That's still what keeps me close. You know um that's how I know. The thing about it is, and it's hard for me too, you have to pinpoint the areas that these dark entities are attacking you, and it's usually your third eye. It's usually your third eye. I'm not going to say usually because I don't know. That's what it is for me. For me, it's been my third eye, my crown, and my heart. For some people, it's their solar and their sacral, if you will, So when it comes to meditating, and it's not easy. You just one day I just fell into it, You just fall into it. I started meditating with my dad long time ago, and then I picked it back up like a few years ago. But I meditated just like 2 days ago on my heart chakra. 'Cause that's what's plaguing me the most. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's different for everybody. But once you recognize the parts of your body that are being spiritually attacked, it's smooth sailing after that because then you start evolving as a spiritualist, and then you start flipping through scripture, and then it's easier for you to sleep at night, it's easier for you to it's easier and quicker for you to pick up on what foods, what medicines you need, to keep yourself sustained and all of that. They when they talk about I it we all take chances in life, but when they talked about Dr. Sabi and Left Eye, it's all about just dark energies. No one, every sometimes, like you just said, their time is nigh. It was just a spiritual attack. The Americas, it's our duty and our job. Our civil right. We were taught the Constitution in school for a reason. We were taught those things for a reason. And it's our civil duty to protect our motherland, regardless of the past. You have to forgive. This is our nirvana. This is our heaven. And it's one love, So it's our job to just speak the truth. It's unfortunate that some of us just choose to stay stagnant. But I know Shay Shay, I know you're not. I know you're not, But that's, we all just gotta take time and take part in our own lives to do better for ourselves, And once you do better for yourselves, that's where the wealth starts for you. That's where it starts. That's where you begin to find your purpose. And then, um it'll be all right. I just wanted to get on live and just clear up some of this energy. I shouldn't be sick before my birthday. I don't even drink liquor anymore, Once you realize, once you recognize spirit and you bow down, you humble to it, That's the only stimulant you need. That's the only suppressant you need. You know, shout out to the Islamic community, you know. Shout out to shout out to them and just, and shout out to people, these parties within our government that acknowledge these holidays like Ramadan and things of that nature, because this flesh is all we have. And that's why it's imperative to take care of it. It's important that way we can stay the course. Um and continue to seek out what it is our parents and their parents and their parents set for us to do, you know creating that conversation of generational wealth. I kind of lost my train of thought with that, but that whole two loaves, I mean two the fish in the loaf of bread, really is just about that whole metaphor is about, just laying down the foundation of who you are, because once this flesh is gone, that's it. And it's always about what you leave behind. Do you feel? These days I have been, well, yeah, these days I have been. Yesterday it took over me. Was it during 2 years ago? The same thing happened to me where I was driving, and then all of a sudden I just started earling out of nowhere. And I didn't have COVID. Like I done had two COVID tests, and both times they came back negative. So, neither here nor there. I'm not I'm a regular Joe like everybody else, but I would like to openly practice science. I wish I would have went to college. I did go to community school, and I am certified in medical billing and coding, but you know, there were things that kind of energetically prevented me from pursuing my education in those type of institutions. But math and science has always been something that I excelled in, something I could fluently talk in. My mom's mom was a chemist, if you will. She was her neighborhood doctor. So that's where I get, and so was my dad's mom as well. So that's where I get that from. But I'm just trying to lift the vibration, continue this conversation, hopefully, because it's not about a race. It's not about gender. When you realize what the race is, the being racist is not. It's an illusion behind that. But being prejudiced is, like prejudice is real, and once again, that has nothing to do with color. So, I don't want to get off all into that, and I don't want to speak politics because that's not what this page is about. But you know hopefully you guys will see me again in a different light, because I'm a Taurus and I like to eat, and I like to eat good. And my dad, he's a very healthy eater. Like I get all of that from my father, um, who I love very much. That's my best friend. So, all right, um I don't know. I got off in a tangent, but I'm glad you are enjoying this, or however it applies to you. Hopefully I helped you, um you know or motivated you to continue to want to meditate, excuse me, because with the seven chakras, it's sometimes, it's coming, it's from my head to my toe. But we going to be all right. I, I'm about to try to lay down before I go into work. Hopefully, I don't have to call off. But all right, guys. See you next time.